administration are present except for our police chief, Larry Wright, is absent excused. If there's anyone recording this meeting as a courtesy to your fellow attendees, will you please identify yourself so that they know they're being recorded? Seeing no one, City of Eastlake is recording this meeting. We'll move on to legislation proposed. The legislation proposed, legislation number 08-23-01, an ordinance amending section 303.09, using junk vehicles on private or public property without permission or administration of the codified ordinances of the City of Eastlake to amend section A and read as such and declaring an emergency. Mr. Mayor, water.
Yeah, I think the chief wanted to shorten the time. I think recently they had 90 something. They wanted to shorten it down, so we just went forward.
Shorten to what?
24 hours from, I think we get 40 hours.
Any questions for water? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to legislation number 08-23-02, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Lake County Department of Utilities necessary to establish funding and reimbursement for the Waverly Sanitary Sewer Replacement Project Phase 2 and declaring an emergency. Mr. White?
Thank you, Mr. President. When we go to Waverly 2, it's a very deep sewer. We anticipate that the water line will be impacted and destroyed, similar to what happened during Phase 1. So we made an agreement with Lake County to pay for a portion of the water line. We estimate the water line is going to cost $365,000. County's agreed to pay approximately 2/3 of that amount, of about $250,000 to the city for that work. And the memorandum of understanding just memorializes that.
If you remember the first phase, when we didn't have something in place, we were delayed like at least 6 weeks. Right. So we're trying to be proactive because we know the water lines are going to be bad when they start digging as deep as they did last time.
When do you anticipate starting this work?
Looking to go to bid as soon as, if this is approved this evening, we'll go to bid this week. The loan funds will be approved, I believe, at the meeting of December 8th. So I'm anticipating a winter start to get materials. Can't provide the winter, it's too harsh, it's awful. So probably push it to spring or winter and have complete life next fall.
Very good. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to legislation number 08-23-03, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and director of finance to enter into an agreement with CT Consultants for architectural engineering service for Eastlake Captain Stadium re-roofing for the total amount of $40,000 and declaring an emergency.
This is for the engineering of the new roof that we need to probably put on. Once we get moving on this, our approximate cost for the re-roof is probably be close to $1 million. So this is the engineering design and architectural engineering of it.
Any questions from the mayor? Seeing none, we'll move on to legislation number 08-23-04, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and director of finance to purchase two 2022 Dodge Charger pursuit vehicles from LaForce Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for $39,341 each, a total of $78,682, and declaring an emergency.
As you know, one of our SUVs was totaled from a driver a couple of weeks ago on the freeway, and then we had another car that was wrecked, so these will pay, the insurance is paying for both these vehicles. We looked at, right now, as you know, there's no cars or SUVs anywhere, so when the chief said, hey, there's two, we decided to skip both of them. Because we don't know again, or when any vehicles will be out there, they're stopping production on a few of the SUVs, so we're going to go with these two Chargers.
Any questions for that?
Insurance covering the whole hospital?
For the vehicles, we'll pay for the outfit.
The insurance is probably $1,000 to $1,500 less than the insurance companies already told me what I'll pay for them. And the other one was totaled last year, so we do have all the vehicles totaled.
Thank you.
legislation number 08-23-05, a resolution authorizing director of finance to advance funds, with said funds to be advanced from fund number 101 general fund in the amount as listed in fund number 203 municipal motor vehicles, and declaring an emergency. Commissioner?
Thank you. This fund handles the taxes, vehicle taxes, the money's coming in a little slower than I had anticipated, but by the end of the year, we will have enough money in there to be able to pay our bills. It's just that some of the bills came early and the money's coming in slowly over 12 months, so if we just advance the funds, we can pay the bill, and then we'll repay it by the first.
Any questions from the finance director? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to legislation number 08-23-06, a resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Safety or his duly authorized representative to proceed with the solicitation of bids through an online public auction for the city of East Lake for the sale of various items as listed below and declaring emergency. Mr. Mayor?
Again, these are four vehicles, a 2008 Chevy Impala, a 2001 GMC Sierra, 1999 International, which was a full Vector truck, and 1988 International, which was a black copper. We're just gonna put them on go deal to see what we get instead of scrapping.
Any questions for the mayor? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to legislation number 08-23-07, an ordinance to reappropriate for the expenses of the city of East Lake, state of Ohio, for the period beginning January 1st, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency. Commissioner?
Thank you. There's a few costs that were maybe unanticipated that we need to plan for, or adjust to make payment on. There's a few costs here that the revenue came in, and so I'm only adjusting the cost to match the revenue. So for instance, the municipal court, our costs are higher than we had anticipated. We have to pay the bill to the court, I'm asking that we get an extra $40,000 to pay that. Planning commission, we had a lot of activity in the building department, or with the new subdivisions. I planned on having about the normal amount in terms of, cost for advertising, newspaper, et cetera. And I missed that mark, so we need a little extra there. Building and recreation, that's the, agreement that we made with the, service department in terms of what they could be paid. It's the generous, I did not calculate it to the penny. It's just a generous estimate. I know I'll have more than enough at the end of the year and can come back to the general fund. When I go down to the second half, you'll see that the top half of the general fund, the bottom half are the different funds. You can see we have insurance money coming in, and some that have already came in, so we anticipate spending that. We have opioid money that came in. We have a little bit of ARPA money that came in. That was ARPA money that was undistributed because some entities didn't want it, and therefore got distributed by those entities that had signed up for the program, so we got an extra little amount. So all I'm asking is that if it came in, that we have the ability to spend it. I'm certainly not spending it today. I'm not doing anything with those funds. I'm just changing the budget to accommodate that. You can see the stadium fund for $40,000. I certainly plan on putting in a new roof, but right now I got to pay for the engineering and the design on that roof. So I'm asking that we have the ability to spend out of that fund so we can make those payments. And then we have donations, street opening, plan review deposits. These are all deposits. People give us that money and it has to go out. I do my best at the beginning of the year to estimate if we're going to have new building deposits, but I don't know the activity of the city. So when people start giving us more than I had anticipated, I know I have to give it back to them. So I look at what's come in and now I'm anticipating paying more on.
Any questions, Commissioner? Thank you, Commissioner. We don't have any legislation pending. We have nothing under legislation. We will adjourn this council, the whole committee meeting at 7:10 p.m. On the regular council meeting, August 23rd, 2022, to order at 7:10 p.m. Mr. Kasilik, we have lead the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll? Is there a motion to approve the agenda of the regular council meeting of August 23rd, 2022? Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes, the motion is carried, the agenda is approved. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of July 12th, 2022? Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes, the motion is carried, the minutes are approved. Our next scheduled council as a whole committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 13th, 2022 at 7 p.m. with the regular council meeting immediately following the adjournment of the council as a whole committee meeting. Say welcome back, everybody. All right, we don't have any motions, we don't have any communications and petitions. We will move on to committee reports. First report is from the Port Authority.
Thank you. Yes, we had a Port Authority meeting on August 18th. Main takeaways that I have from that meeting that we share. City of Willoughby does have a new liaison starting at the next meeting to report council to work to councilman. Also, from the chairman's report, Marchand attended the second planning meeting of the year, which we call the Riverwalk project that they are discussing. I don't know, Mr. Mayor, if you like have any other information on that. I wasn't able to attend, but from what we gathered was the Riverwalk is supposed to go from North Chagrin all the way to here. Regarding the river access and dredging, Tim Kirby, there's dredging going to expire in January. And looking to renew it, so he has to back.
Any questions for Councilman Thomas? All right, seeing none, thank you, Mr. Smith. We will move on to our QCDC. Commissioner Smith.
Thank you. With our meeting this evening, just at 5:30, we, picked our Yard of the Year winners. So I'm really excited, and you guys can check them out after if you want to look at them. We are, the committee, approved and requested, depending on the mayor, we'd like to send a letter this week and, ask them if you come to their yard. With obviously, you know, the mayor will be there. So we are going to get with him and try to coordinate that time and send it out to everyone. We would like to see it go happen in the next 2 weeks just to get them out. If you didn't see the signs on the back, they're gorgeous. I was so happy with them. The other thing that we are doing is, the Good Neighbor Award we received, so far about, I had about 4 or 5 and the ladies gave me some tonight. So we have about 6 or 7 that will receive the time honors certificate, which means that you have been in a place for more than 50 years. So the committee is asking, and I have to send it to the mayor and to John to get approval, that we do the award ceremony September 27th, which is council meeting night and an ECDC meeting night at 6:30 before council. This way, if council wants to be here, the mayor has to be here, and committee members want to be here, kind of a night for everyone will be in the building, trying to make it efficient with all approval on council president and mayor, or mayor morning. And then we would give them each a certificate and maybe just say a few nice words. Outside of that, we, our next meeting is September 27th, then we are on October 25th. We are asking to move our November meeting to the 15th and December meeting to the 20th. Due to holidays. So I think that those will, and then we have other things in the plan, but these first few things need to happen, I think, before we go forward. And if anyone has any questions.
My question for you is your next meeting, which is you said, the September meeting, which would be the award time.
Yes.
Do you have an ACDC meeting scheduled that night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the room is the 4th too.
Right.
So the meeting would be at 5:30.
Okay. My suggestion would maybe just move the meeting to 6 o'clock and let them
we'll get, a call out, like we both do it. I'll send you an email, but you're basically the same as today for September 27th, 7 o'clock, request on New Year's.
That's fine, you just copy it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think that's it for committee reports, so we will move on to recognition of the public. The floor is now open for recognition of the public. I remind speakers that all remarks will be directed to the chair. They will not involve personalities. There will be 3 minutes per person, 3 minutes total. We have one individual signed up to speak. Mark, go ahead. Come up, please. You can state your name and address for the record, please.
All right, my name's Mark Allen, 1360 Street, 40th Street. Okay, this is in regards to the Clean Express Auto Wash. Very noisy for the residents who live on the property. And I'm wondering why the ordinance for unnecessary noise and disturbing the peace doesn't apply to their motors. Where it states in any sound of motors or pumps in such a manner as to disturb the peace, quiet, and comfort of neighborhood inhabitants shall be shielded to prevent disturbance. Why can't this be applied to them?
This is the first that I'm hearing about it, so I have to just talk to on the law records, I have to talk to the board, try to see if they know anything more. It may or may not apply to something that's okay.
There's constant noise.
We've been.
Now with the air conditioning off, open the doors and hear that all the time. It's real bad when the blowers come on and cars exit the building. Because everything's in the back of the building facing the property owners.
Yeah, they won't have it.
So, no, John's been involved with me, so the latest time we've met with the residents, so I talked to Jason again today, because with the whole fence isn't up yet, so they're putting fences up behind their yard, see what that does. They tried putting some bushes around, and I told him today he needs to answer the question. I responded back to the email today, from him, updates, I called him, whole fence issues, again, still with their installers, only have as many people to have, so I told him that he needs to move along with the fence especially, and see what that ends up bringing, but,
That'll eliminate the sound from the vacuum cleaner floor motor. It won't eliminate the sound coming out of the building.
what ordinance number do you have on that?
1359, period 05.
Thank you. What the law records?
I'll look at it, it's the first I'm hearing about it too, we are not having something.
Okay.
They will know the details until I get them still in progress.
I mean, I've pointed out to them that there's companies that deal with sound barriers. They have to come out and look at it, they won't talk to me. They'll talk to the city or they'll talk to the owner of the company. But they won't talk to
I'm sure
me.
there's some, try to do the cheapest things first and then
Yeah.
see how we can accommodate if we can.
Don't want to just elapse where we can't do nothing about it. Bring the hand going. No, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for the insight, thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address council? All right, seeing no one, will the clerk please read legislation number 08-23-01?
An ordinance amending section 303.09, condemn vehicles on private or public property without petition or notification of the codified ordinances of the city of Eastlake to amend section A and read as such and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rule requiring second reading to read its full?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Overstreet?
Yes.
Ms. Kreniak?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Mr. Swanton?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Yes. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt?
So motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Overstreet?
Yes.
Ms. Kreniak?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Mr. Swanton?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Yes. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes, the motion is carried, the legislation is done. Will the clerk please read legislation number 08-23-02?
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Lake County Department of Utilities necessary to establish funding and reimbursement procedures for the Waverly Sanitary Sewer Replacement Project Phase 2 and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rule requiring separate readings and reading in full?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt?
I move to adopt.
Is there a second? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis? Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes. The motion is carried. The legislation is adopted. Will the clerk please read legislation number 08-23-03?
A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and director of finance to enter into an agreement with CP Consultants for architectural engineering services for East Lake Captain Stadium re-roofing for the total amount of $40,000 and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rule requiring separate readings and reading in full?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt.
Second.
I second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. The motion is carried. The legislation is adopted. Will the clerk please read legislation number 08-23-04?
A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and director of finance to purchase two 2022 Dodge Charger pursuit vehicles from LaPorte Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for $39,341 each, a total of $78,682, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rule requiring separate readings and reading in full? Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. The motion is carried. The legislation is adopted. Will the clerk please read legislation number 08-23-05?
A resolution authorizing the director of finance to advance funds with said funds to be advanced from Fund 101, General Fund, in the amount as listed into Fund 203, Municipal Motor Vehicles, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rule requiring separate readings and readings in full? Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Katsounis? Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt.
Is there a second? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. The motion is carried. The legislation is adopted. Will the clerk please read legislation number 08-23-.
Authorizing and directing the Director of Public Safety or his duly authorized representative to proceed with the solicitation of bids through an online public auction in the city of East Lake for the sale of various items as listed below and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rule requiring separate readings and readings in full?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. The motion is carried. The legislation is adopted. Will the clerk please read legislation number 08-23-07?
An ordinance to reappropriate for the expenses of the city of East Lake, state of Ohio, for the period beginning January 1st, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to suspend the rule requiring separate readings and readings in full?
So.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Katsounis? Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt? I move to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Katsounis?
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt? Mr. Spartan?
Yes.
Ms. Krania?
Yes.
Mr. Oberste?
Yes.
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes. The motion is carried. The legislation is adopted. We have no legislation pending. We don't have any unfinished business. We don't have any new business. We'll move on to administrative reports. Our first report is from our mayor and state director, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. President, welcome to this evening's meeting, everyone. Ms. Schmidt, I'll be waiting for my, major award on your, pictures over there. A couple things, nothing a long report. Washington, Grove has has 5 remaining lots for that division, and then Taft will start building in October. They look forward to, quick sales of that also. So, I mean, if you had a chance, I don't know if anyone's been over to Washington Grove, the houses are just going up. Well, the 9/11 ceremony here on September 11th, at the Boulevard 500 flag. Stevens, started some repairs that ODOT's been working on for over a year. I'll let Tom talk a little more of that schedule during his report. We were at Dave and I and John were at the wastewater treatment plant with Congressman Joyce today. Mayor Fiala, going over, talking and thanking him for the $3.5 million that they gave the city for the basin, Eastern Basin. Total cost is about $7 million, but $3.5 million, obviously very helps us a lot. And last but not least, I'd like to, as always, thank our safety forces for the shooting we had last week in the city. I was on scene with both of the chiefs and fire and police departments. Did an outstanding job on the first report. We called an active shooter. It was handled expediently, and there were no other injuries to anyone. Unfortunately for the gentleman's wife, but at the end of the day, these guys, as always, are very professional. The mutual aid that we had in the other departments were right on. I mean, Chief Whittington, especially, if we give him really accommodation of just how he had the victim when he got there, got her out of harm's way in case there was going to be any more, how he took care of the children while we were there, and again, just went on these scenes with these guys. It's just amazing to just watch things they do. I'm there to make calls, they need things back up or other things, but I mean, we have, I believe the best police and fire department in this county. And again, these guys do a great job. I know the chief's on time with his mother, but I mean, it's just how well they all function together and how well that team was contained. So again, with the chief, there's no more I can say that. They do an awesome job for our residents in the city. So that concludes my report. I'm open to questions.
Are there any questions from the board? Commissioner?
What time is the 9/11 ceremony?
11 a.m.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll move on to our fire chief, Ted Whittington.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I know there's probably, I can't remember the time, but there's been a lot of things that have happened in the normal summer. We did have the accident on 2 where the patrol car got hit. It was a significant accident. Luckily, the officers, when they're down on the freeway, they most certainly have situational awareness. And just because of that, their lives were actually saved. They were out of the vehicle, so there was not a lot of room to go. So I think that they deserve some credit. We've had a couple things. We were in Madison this past week for chemical explosion at one of their facilities. So we assisted with that. And then, like the mayor was saying, we had that event the other day, which we drew down on our active shooter policy, which, quite honestly, as much as we train on it and develop it, you never think we'd be in that situation. So, I'm not sure what I should be saying. I'm not saying as far as the chief goes and the investigation goes, but it was one of those things where you organize the chaos, you do it very quickly, and you bring some kind of order to at least a pretty active event. I think between the PD and the FD, the things and the procedures that we put in place, they all worked. And it's not to say that we didn't learn things from that incident. We have, Sergeant Weber had debriefed yesterday, we critiqued yesterday, so there's a lot of things that we discussed, things that we should be working on, things that we could do better. But we also we're happy and proud of some of the things that we did do well. We agreed that, that we're willing to make hot zone entries as fire department, which means an unsecured seam. And I believe because of those decisions, that saves lives. So, I almost, prefer that chief speak on any other particulars of the instance, so I don't say things I'm not supposed to, but I really think that both those organizations represented this community very well, and I'm happy that, it wasn't worse than what it actually sounded like, it sounded, way important than that. But other than that, like I said, a lot of the summer stuff that usually happens in the community we're dealing with, and, it's been, I think that both agencies, our calls are up about 250 ahead of where it was last year at this time, and last year was our busiest year, so we're seeing a lot, increase in call volume, and that in itself doesn't really much, not really, I don't know what that means, other than the fact that this one's pretty busy. But anyway, other than that, all the questions.
Any questions for the chief? Seeing none? Thank you, chief. We appreciate everything you do. Thank you. We'll move on to our chief building official, Dave Lennon.
Thank you. I usually don't say much about my department, but I think our department is, the best one the city's ever had. We have quality people, and I think we're very fortunate. And they've worked very hard in making sure these new developments are going as they should, and everything else. So, I just want to thank them for, doing the hard work they're doing. That's it.
Any questions for Mr. Lennon? Thank you, Mr. Lennon. And we'll move on to our service director, Kevin Fitzgerald.
So I'm sure you noticed there is a fresh coat of paint on the Stevens pedestrian bridge, which I think came out pretty nice. The new LED lights at Borax Park, all of the parking lights have been replaced with LED. We also took, I believe, 6 light poles from the old classic park before it turned into the Miracle League. And we held on to those, we had those installed down along the sidewalk down there at Borax, also at the river, which are also LED bulbs. The playground equipment is complete at Borax. We continue to work on our hog outs of the roads, the asphalt roads. We're currently on East 360th. Catch basin repairs are continuing along the way. We're working on Morris and Brookdale at this time. The Parkway and Bayshore cut through to the school, that sidewalk has been replaced where it was low and holding water, so that shouldn't be an issue anymore. And we are actually looking at replacing some of the fencing top rail that goes along the edges of that sidewalk. That concludes my report, and open for questions.
Any questions from the service director? All right, seeing none, thank you, Mr. Costello. We'll move on to our city engineer, Tom Porter.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council, Mr. Mayor. Just following on the mayor's comments, as you're aware, there were a lot of puddling along Stevens on the ODOT section. The work that's going on now is meant to alleviate that. That includes grinding out some of the asphalt, replacing it. They also involve some adjustments of the casting and then repaving the areas. Right now, it looks like the building is mostly done. There are going to be a few casting adjustments here and there. If they complete those in time, maybe we'll start, may conclude this Friday. If not, it'll be concluded early next week, and then the traffic parts will be done. That should take care of the problems.
Any questions from Mr. White? No, seeing none, thank you, Mr. White. We'll move on to our finance director, Caroline Schnell.
Thank you. Right now, finance is starting to gather their information, starting to prepare the spreadsheet for the 2023 budget. Certainly, there's no decisions being made at this time. It's simply a matter of finding out, in terms of where's the economy going, what have we collected, where do we stand, kind of information in order to be able to project into next year what repetitive information or what repetitive revenues coming in versus what we had a lot of in the last 2 years, which is one-time money, which we probably will not see next So we've started our process, and, I'm looking for questions.
Are there any questions of the finance director? Thank you, Mr. Bill. Seeing none, all right. And we'll move on to our law director, Wayne Clown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Men's testimony on the Woodday Dispensary is postponed till next Friday, so we'll do that on Zoom this week. I wanted to, again, congratulate the fire chief and his staff for having that active shooter. If, I think the mayor would like to go out the panhandler ordinance discussion, and we would have to incorporate it with that. So if either the ordinance chair or the president receives some guidance on which one to do on the dog ordinance and, panhandler, and I'll look at the draft for you, probably on. Little trip and all that, the Miracle League turned over insurance and raised the risk of liability as well, and they were very comfortable.
Any questions for the law director? Seeing none. Anything else? Okay. This meeting is adjourned at 7:38 p.m.